is, for example, when I ping my PC from outside, then that's working. So I don't know. And another thing, yeah, I have here the IPv6 address inserted.
Hey,
There's not zipper.
yes.
Ah, moin.
Sorry, I'm a bit late.
Hi, Natsuba. We've talked already today.
Yeah, I remember. I trying to use IPv6 address now.
Because I've tried today. This is, I don't know, can you see this putty?
Yeah.
This is working when I go on an AWS EC2 instance. Then it's working directly. I just make the ports available, and then it's just working out of the box. But if I have my PC at home and yeah, I have this. This is the IPv6 address of this firmware box, and it's available from outside. But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't get any connection, and from my I've also have some ports. The ports, the port forwarding is enabled. I don't know what the problem is.
You're using on the VPS. You're using IPv6 address also.
Yeah. I only have an IPv6 address, and my ISP is it's using dual stack, so dual stack addresses. So yeah.
Can you run the IP tables or ipconfig command on the VPS in the putty?
On this. Okay. What was the command? If config or
If config. So you have an IPv. How do you know that that this actually connects to IPv6 address? It have this address body. It also have IPv4 address. So basically, to have a clean test, you need to disable the IPv4 address on your VPS.
Okay. So you mean, okay.
I will Google how to do this. So first you need to start your session with the IPv6 to that machine.
Okay. Yeah, I need some time. I have to look it up.
Sure. I found some manual on the DigitalOcean manuals. I put into the Zoom chat. Which Ubuntu version are you using?
I think 16.05. F04, yeah.
Yes, 1604. There is a manual for that. So you need to edit interface file, config file. Rao, I've seen your message. Do you want to run some contracts on the fresh RNode release?
Yeah, that would be good. And when Toby is ready, we do want to help him get his node up and be able to communicate with that. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So let me. Oh, I need to
Nadzipper, also, you were not here when I was telling the other guys that the second type-safe API, as an addition to existing one, is being seriously looked at. So we'll try to do it, if possible, without breaking the existing API, so that we'll deprecate it, and over a period of time, people can migrate. Because there is some rework on our side to not use the old API, but I think we can delay that for now by having a second API that's available to tool builders and all that.
That's great news.
Yeah, I thought you would like that.
Yes.
So, Chris was talking about something about a WebSocket API, but I think the requirements are not clear on that yet. So we'll look at that when that's more clearly articulated later on.
Yeah, and I've sent message into the Discord that if you only enable WebSockets API, when you have gRPC, you can, with the Envoy proxy, translate that into the RESTful API, JSON API, so you can have nice documentation stuff like Swagger to be enabled. So you have automated documentation generation, and you have some Swagger-like interfaces to test on the testnet, that API. So if you have WebSocket, you basically, to just try this API, you need to figure out how to run WebSockets. While with JSON API, you can CRL, use CRL and all the command line stuff that just send HTTP /2 requests. So from the point of view that API is available for everyone, it would be good to have gRPC.
Mm-hmm. Did you also say you kind of elaborated on the WebSocket requirement in the public R chain? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay.
I'm not. I just don't know how to make documentation on the WebSockets API as easily generated as for JSON. Maybe there is a way, but to my understanding, it is quite complicated.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, when that's more clearly defined, I think we can look at that, because Sebastian also was not sure how or what to do there, whereas he seems to have clarity on the type safe side of things. So
yeah. I also think that there are a bunch of guys who are actually developing, like Tomislav, Dan Conley, Lemuet, who else? Jim, maybe some other guys who are using this API extensively, which should be invited for the discussion about this, because they're actually end users that spend a lot of time with it.
Yeah, so is there, since Jim is on here, I think Tomislav is off this week, but is there a set of requirements or desires that can be articulated, Jim?
I'm
I know that
hearing
Jim.
what Tomislav is offering and listening with interest. I have to review this. As I understand, there'll be a WebSocket interface, as in, is that this is the
Sorry, Jim. Tomislav,
Yeah, right.
please.
Right now, we're not
Tomislav.
talking about WebSocket. We're talking about type safety.
Is Tomislav developing WebSockets interface, Jim? I'm not aware of that.
No, I guess I just had a question on that. Were you saying that's going to be an alternate to, or is that going to be an option?
No, Chris was asking for a WebSocket API, but it's not clear really what the requirement is. So right now it's not on the table to implement, but it's to the extent that if there is desire for that from the community, we can collect requirements and then consider it at a future time. But NutZipper is talking about something else. You want to explain NutZipper, what you're trying to get done?
Yeah, sure. So, Jim, basically, the problem is that at the moment, every gRPC endpoint responds with kind of object, which is protobuf's serialized object with the type of either. This is the type of either that we can see in protobuf. And we can know which exact type is being sent by that endpoint in the response only by comments in the protobuf files, which says that this endpoint should actually respond you with light block info, for example. Well, actually, protobuf says that it just send you either. So when you try to use author-generated code, or when you try to use some tools which to inspect the gRPC response, it doesn't work because it cannot deserialize the response for you, because it's only know that there's an either type. So when you debug something, you need to write some tooling around this stuff, and it's quite a problem. And Tomislav experienced that. If you remember, on the dApp communities, he told that while he was developing all his library, Ed was not very happy with that either stuff because it brings problems. So I was thinking that it would be nice to have a type safety, so every API endpoint returns a specific type which is written in the protobuf. Does this make sense, and do you see this as a problem that better be solved for dApp developers to feel more happy?
Yeah, I mean, this is clearly been an issue, and causing things to break whenever there were changes to the structure, which were not good. What I was, but I haven't followed too much. I saw that there was a number of updates that Tomislav committed to the RChain source code, and my understanding was that these.
Are you talking about his work on calling HTTP out of raw line code, or some recent work? Ah.
So these, well, in the last 2 weeks, I assume these updates are in the latest version. And I thought he was addressing some of these issues you're talking about here. I don't know if you looked at the updates that he did.
Oh, so that's interesting news, Jim. This is not something
Yes,
I was aware of, and now the developers, I think we need to highlight this piece to them that Tomislav was committing.
Yeah, well, as far as I know, these updates are in the latest version. And my question was really, how does that change the situation, or not?
Okay, how do we get this information to Sebastian, who's kind of looking at this? Because I want to, so this is in dev branch. Can you paste me the URL here?
I put it in the chat.
Oh, you did, okay. I'm going to send that to Sebastian to look at it. Thank you.
Now, okay, so this was in the dev branch. I thought this was okay. So maybe this is not in the latest release. I don't know. How do I find out?
If it was, if release was built upon the dev out from dev branch, so it should be in the latest release actually.
Should be, yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Jim, for highlighting this stuff.
I know it was so quiet. Nobody was told about this. I guess Tomislav, if he's around, maybe would have said something. But
yeah, he's been. You know, he did mention that he had a change that was committed before he left, but that's the last we heard of it.
So I guess it's worth testing that feature out to see what his commits are doing in the 0913. But now the thing is, he's doing this as an additional layer of functionality because from what I understood, if you directly did changes to existing code, that would break certain things. So I guess we need to understand or review this too.
Yeah. At least it would be nice to have core devs to be aware of this.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I didn't see Tomislav on the RNode Dev Discord. Maybe it would be nice to add him there.
No, he's there. He's there. He doesn't participate much, but he's definitely there.
I tried to tag him recently and I couldn't because I couldn't find his handle.
So I'm looking at RNode Dev and I thought I saw him before. Let's see.
You're wanting to know his handle in Discord or?
No, he's not. I thought I saw him on the RChain dev before, but not Ziprix, right? I don't see him now in any case, so I should probably add him to the RChain dev. Maybe that's why the communication did not happen, because he was not on RChain dev. But did he announce this somewhere else, like in the pub RChain or something, that he's doing this?
I know that he was about to raise this topic and to add reflection to the gRPC.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like he didn't stuff under the hoods.
Okay, so now we can continue with, I guess, testing the 0913.
Okay. Toby, how's your?
Yeah, I'm looking the documentation.
Okay, so I will share my screen now.
Okay.
So what's the location option? Option on deploy.
Jim, where did you find that location option?
Did you find it? Yeah.
I have tried in arguments location. Maybe that's just a location of the file to deploy, or it requires you when you're trying to deploy something.
I see. I got
yeah, and I was talking, but I was muted. Rao, as we can see, previously we had in every release we had a hash of a commit in the release file name, and now it's just RNode. Now it's RNode 0913. So, as I know, Adam did this release, right?
No, Tomasz did.
Tomasz did. I wonder why it's not anymore like previous ones. Because
what
in
did
12
you have
release,
before? You were saying?
As you can see, we had in the name of a file the hash of a commit out from which this release was generated.
Right.
And now we have just this. And it was always was like this with the hash.
Right.
So I always wonder why this. Okay, so oh, I forgot to clear up my RNode folder. If you guys haven't seen, I'll send I'll send into the Zoom chat. How do I open this chat? Where's the chat? Yeah, this is just with all contracts evaluated, deployed, and proposed. So there are contracts with deploy failed and the proposable. There are 385 proposable contracts, and actually, are they cleared? Okay, so if you want to play, you can take this data. And what I'm going to do right now is to pull that contracts Okay. I have proposable. So this is scripts which I was used to deploy to the sandbox. I will modify it to propose and deploy on current on the local machine. Won't sleep here. Right. Employ. I didn't run on the standalone. Okay. Let's starting to propose adding blocks. Well, that one row is the content I was talking about. This is the long contract, which made nodes to fall into the out of memory on the sandbox, I believe. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I do. Is that what we're seeing right now? Is the
Yeah, we've seen that this contract was deployed.
mm.
It was deployed and now it is being proposed. So this is the contract. So it's being executed right now, and it's basically recursive sand. And recursion is the order of number of these length of the string.
Okay. So at least we know that concludes. So that's good news, right? Compared to where we were before, we're not getting the memory errors in this run.
Yes, but this my VPS, it has 16 gigabytes, and Sandbox have 13 gigabytes, as far as you know. So it all depends on how much RAM do you have.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, as we can see, this deploy was executed and added to this block, but we still don't have message back to the RNode CLI that this block was created, because maybe it sends that message after post state parents computed finished. Yes, good news, it was actually processed. I should try to do this on the sandbox. And actually, are you aware if any work on this was done?
There were a lot of optimizations and bug fixes were done. Do you remember I guess we need to look at the ticket number on that thing that you reported. It's possible that was addressed in the, So
it was rather quick, in under 1 minute.
And you said you were running this on Sandbox, right?
No, I'm running on my own VPS.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I will leave this running and we'll see what we have at the end of this meeting. What block height will we have? Well, at least now it doesn't look like there is any signs of block proposal time degradation. As it was being brought up by Phil recently. It was in the last October. I remember that when you propose a block simultaneously, the execution time is increasing. This is all rather smooth.
I still get an invalid transaction proposing my ballot contract.
Hmm.
You want to share your screen, Jim?
There's really not too much to show.
So you were, I think what you were getting, what kind of error were you getting? Last time I forgot. It was not, you were not necessarily getting a JVM heap error, right? You were getting something else.
No, that was during this test, we had one contract, Jim's contract, ballot.row contract, which caused invalid transaction. It was actually deployed, but on propose, he threw an error. So there is a ticket for this.
Yeah, it was. I don't think any work was done on that ticket. But if I eval this, it runs fine. I don't know what's wrong with it, but we just get an invalid transaction here. This is actually my second try. Did it up here already. And I'm just trying standalone here.
It shouldn't really matter because that's an interpreter issue, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, I have some contract that I should remove from the gist. There's a contract that just make infinite sense. So we can actually wait for a bit to see if this throw some kind of error. But I don't think that this will.
How is Toby doing with his connectivity?
Sorry?
Yeah, what I've yet finished is to assign IPv6 address to the EC2 instance. But yeah, not more. I think I need some time. Maybe I will, I don't know.
Did you try that DigitalOcean manual?
And the problem is I first have to an IPv6 address assigned to this instance because otherwise, from my point of view, I can't, yeah, I can't
Connect.
access it. Yeah,
Mm.
because normally there's only an IP for.
But you can you log into your SSH with your IP version 6 address right now?
No.
No.
That's what I'm currently. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
I'm not an EC2 expert. I just have to learn it, and then we will see. But was there anybody?
But you can ping it. So if you can.
No, it's hop limited. I know.
You can ping. But You've shown the ping to your local machine, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
I see. Maybe there is some IP tables rule or firewall on your machine. Actually, if the node has assigned IP version 6 address, I don't see why it shouldn't be accessible.
Was there anybody who had done this before, or?
I use IP6 for something, and I noticed that if I didn't allow IP6 when I created the droplet on DigitalOcean, and I enabled it later, it wasn't enabled properly, and I had to do some other configuration to get it working, and I don't really remember what it was. There's probably some DigitalOcean help on that.
Okay, so my contract is still running, and this is about the point that we should somehow restrict the flow limit for a shard, because someone can deploy this contract and it will infinitely reside in the mempool. And even if we just shut down right now the node and we try to do this again, so let's try to connection refused. Okay. So my script trying to deploy and it can't because now it's not running. So now it's running. And let's see. Okay. Actually, it's quite strange because it looks like deploy, which has been executed in execution. Was it just dropped? On restart, it looks like this. It looks so. And I don't think that this is a valid behavior. Rao, how do you think?
That this this needs to be restricted, this kind of behavior, right? That's what you're saying.
Well,
one level of protection, I guess, is that if
we've just seen that I deployed the infinite contract and it was in execution. Then I killed my node. I restarted my node, and then this contract just disappeared from the mempool. And all other contracts that are in queue for my script is just deploy and propose forward, and that infinite loop was cleared out of the mempool. So basically, if someone deploy contract, it's in execution, nodes shut down somehow due to some failure. After restart, this deployed contract will just disappear. It won't be processed one more time.
Right. I mean, there is a thing about. Well, I'm trying to think. There was a test, I guess, to make sure that the DAG store is properly backed up when you shut down or kill the node. But this may not be related to it. I think what you're talking about may be related to the queue. In that,
yes, I guess it's related to the mempool. By the mempool, I mean the queue of deploys that been sent to this node,
right,
which are in the schedule for validation, for proposing, including into the block. So we can do this just one more time. We'll start the node, kill this stuff. Deploy this. So this contract just infinitely doing some stuff. And now we are deploying this to our node. Here it is. Now we're proposing. So basically now node just stuck in a loop. Now we kill node. This contract wasn't executed, so it should be in a mempool still. Let's restart node again. And download another contract. Node's up and running. It doesn't look like it is, well, at least we can see. So we will deploy one more contract. Here it is, contract deployed. So what I was expecting to see, if we propose right now, node will propose this fresh deploy and that in infinite loop that is residing in the mempool. But it doesn't, because it just proposed the fresh deploy and that deploy which was in a mempool, which was in execution when node shut down, it just disappeared. And the user won't know that his deploy disappeared.
So this is a bug, but prevents, is a way to get out of loops. Is that correct?
Well, yeah. as a feature of this bug, it prevents you from looping, because but actually, yeah, actually interesting that when we deployed your valid.row contract and it ended up with the invalid transaction and it was executed, it wasn't included in the block, but after, when we tried to deploy something else in propose, this still stuck in the mempool, and node tried to include that stuck deploy in the proposed block. And it looks like if a deploy is in a process of execution, on the node failure, it just drops. As a feature, you can just kill your node when you see some enormous deploy, but as a bug, you can miss valid deploys if your node is failing in the middle of some processing.
Interesting.
Should I submit a bug?
I would think so. I mean, on the one hand, we need a way to sort of get out of things, you know, get out of loops.
Well,
Yeah,
basically, should there be a separate command for get out of loops rather than killing node? Or, I mean, right? Maybe there should be some command to execute to say.
yeah, but isn't that what the economics about? So infinite loops will cost.
Yeah, so that's one way
money.
That's one way, right? The infinite loops will exhaust your flow. But let me just show something, because I think NetZipper entered a thing before, and I'm wondering if this is related to what he's showing just now. So this bug here, NetZipper, that you entered, is this related to what you're showing now, or this is showing something different?
No, this bug is the same that is bug with the Jim's ballad.row. So if you just send a malformed contract with the wrong call of the system contract SECP 256K1 verify, so this deploy will be proposed. It will be executed and it will throw you some error, and it will be stuck forever in the mempool. And when you deploy something else, you cannot create any new block, because Node will try to include this malformed deploy into every new block.
Okay.
Yes, and the issue I'm talking about now is that if deploy is in the middle of play or replay, I don't know, and Node crashed at that moment, the deploy will be lost.
Right, so these are all the items reported by you. Let's see.
Yeah, and this is new stuff.
This is a new one, yeah.
I just figured out.
So we can report that, and then basically also say that there may be two different tickets. One to say we need the ability to control or kill something that we know is infinite looping or something, so that you can save the bank run on your stake. I mean, on your flow, right?
Yeah, but why should we do this? How you mean should this be a command for a deployer? So he deployed some really expensive stuff,
and he wants to back out of it, right? Or should it be? I don't know. That's something to think about.
I wonder if he have time because actually, yeah, I think that he should have some time, because computing should not be so expensive. He should have an ability to cancel the deploy, maybe. But how will he know that his deploy is actually an infinite loop or has infinite loops? He should do this at the debug stage, when he's debugging his code on the local node, for example, but not when deploying into the production. I was thinking that you are talking about a validator canceling some deploy when he sees that someone deployed malicious stuff that is just an infinite loop. But that's not the case, because this is not good with you know, decentralization wise?
No, so basically each validator is self-contained. They can only see what they have, and they should be able to control only what they see. But yeah, I mean, it should be caught, like you said, at the initial debug level. But I don't know if we need to give them something different. But let's at least report the bug portion of it, leaving out the feature portion of it, I guess, to say this is not expected behavior. And
okay.
So I guess that Toby needs time, and we are past our 11. Should we stop the recording now, or do we have more we want to do here?
I gotta run. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you.
Natzipper, if you could hang on for a minute after the end of the recording.
Yeah, sure.